Steak is done. There. Now it's done. Got coal. Got a bunch of steak. I've given up trying to figure out, like, YouTube. When I first started, there was this whole thing of like, I have to make it the most amazing video ever. This next video is going to be the funniest video I've ever done. And it actually, like, happened like that. I just kept getting better and better and better. And all I was doing was remixes, so every remix got better and better. And I had fun doing every single one of those remixes. And everyone that was involved in those remixes was loving what I was doing. And then my ego came in, and I was like, I started to identify with the channel. Instead of just doing the remixes and having fun with it, I started to identify with it. So I started saying, like, man, I really need to do commentaries because that's what everyone else is doing. And there wasn't, like, all these channels with, like, different people doing different things. Back then, it was like, it was really just a few things that people really did with video games. And I didn't really think it through. I didn't have any experience with doing YouTube. I was just like, I've got to capitalize on all this information. I was thinking like an advertiser, like the same way that I think about things when I go to work. But I do appreciate the fact that I did all that, because now I kind of know. I know the amount of effort it takes to do videos, and then I think about, like, do I want to spend the effort to do it? No. Why not? Because I want to go back to that, like, not caring mode. And that's exactly what this is. Not caring. The rain clears up, and I can see clearly now. The music kicks in. Everything is white, like tabula rasa, blank slate. These guys come into play. Whew. Ha! I win this time. So I've taken the hits, right? And now I have experience, and I can survive all these little hiccups that come my way. That's what those creepers represented. They came just like all the things that came to me in YouTube, all of the challenges, and now I'm just kind of lost. I used to think, man, it is like people, like, I would get a bunch of comments like, why isn't your channel's dead, and all this stuff like that. And after a while, like, you just don't care. Like, you start to remember that it's just the internet. It doesn't even matter if they're haters or if they like your channel. To me, like, people who like your channel and people who hate on your channel are exactly the same if they comment. But I do, like, at least for me, I feel that they're like categorized the same. But in my head, at least, as far as like reactions go, but they're not the same in the fact that I think, like, they're both equally as important. Because the haters, like, they're gonna give it to you straight. I think hate is more pure than love, at least for humans. Because when a human expresses hate, or actually the expression of hate, is actually more pure than love for humans. Because when somebody hates you, they're not going to hold back. They're going to go full force, ram like as much hate as they can right at you, especially if they can do it with no consequences, without being recognized, without having any kind of track record. They can just be an anonymous hater. They're going to do it. And the people who love you, it's almost like well, it's for one, it's surprising because you move them so much to have them actually like think, wow, this guy deserves, like my attention. And I feel so moved that I'm going to actually go out of my way and write a comment. So when you get comments from love, but if you let either of those things affect you, if you let love or hate affect you, then you get lost. You get lost in that high of like wanting to get reactions. I feel like that's the same way it happens with any kind of relationship. And I'm not talking about just like romantic kind of relationship. I'm talking about like friendships, and even the relationship between you and your family, and the relationship between like you and your teachers or your coworkers. Like any of those types of relationships, they're exactly the same. If you react to those, to their humanness, their human responses, then you will get dragged into their human world. And their world is not the same as your world. You have a totally different world that you live in. Different rules. Everyone has totally different rules. I always used to think like that I knew the truth, right? I used to think that I know everything about the universe and there's absolutely nothing left to learn. Part of that is true because, to be honest, when I learn something new, it's not even really like I'm learning something new. It's more like I'm reminding myself about something that I've already known. That's just how it feels whenever I learn things. And I think that's kind of, either that's like a very arrogant thing that, or like feeling or like expression that I've learned, or it's actually the truth. And I've just become so aware of learning and that I've become aware of that. And it just happens every time. Like it happens every time I just feel like I'm just being reminded of something I already know. So when I think about something like love and hatred and comments and responses and stuff like that and YouTube, have so much experience with it that I'm totally used to it now. Totally used to like the whole thing, so much so that it doesn't really affect me anymore. But I still appreciate that people like will do it, that people will go out of their way to leave something, and it's not really like an attention sort of thing. It's more like a surprise. It's still surprising every time I see it. So I guess the main thing that I have to say is that is silence. Silence is just so pleasant. It's like, to me, it's like the only thing that it's like so pure, especially when you're aware of it. When you're aware of silence, it's like, it's such a surprise. It's like, wow. It's that feeling when the air conditioner is on and then all of a sudden it shuts down and it's just dead silent. And you almost feel like a big overwhelming like exhale. And you listen to it for a little while and it just feels so good. I always wonder like what would happen or where I would be at if I just kept doing remixes and I never did Minecraft videos or I never did commentaries. Like, where would my channel be? But I'll never know. It's not really that important because I'm here now doing this right now, and all the things that I did in the past, they don't matter. Gotta get out of here. The only things that I've, like, everything that I've done in the past, it only matters to me. It doesn't matter to anybody else. So if it only matters to me, then what would be my best response to it? Well, it would be the most important thing that I would have to say to anyone, and that's just to be completely silent. If you can, like, you know, when somebody is like, hey man, listen to this, and then they're like just about to say something to you, and like there's that little moment, there's that little space of time when they don't say a word, and you're just sitting there and you're waiting for the person to say something. There's that little like brief moment of like just listening, like pure awareness of you just sitting there, like totally aware. You're just waiting for those words to come your way. That moment is just like pure heaven. That's where heaven is. That's where heaven exists. And then it gets destroyed by whatever the human says. But it wouldn't be heaven without hell. It wouldn't be so precious if there wasn't all that noise.